'Cause I got nothing.
Being locked down, yeah, all we had was Netflix and a lot of movies, and it did cause me to sort of think a lot and reflect about on films that I loved and favorites that I hadn't seen in a while. And it just returning to sort of having time to just sit still and sort of be present, look at these films, look at other films. It was really inspirational and I think played a role in how I continue to develop my symbology through my drawings. Oftentimes I feel, even in the midst of being in a very sociable environment and the world and being busy, I do feel those moments of loneliness and sort of like as an outsider. I feel like I'm sort of on the outside looking in. And so the films that I gravitated towards and were part of the selection that were focused on trying to make sense of loneliness and daydreaming, imagining the world in a different way, and bringing in the magical, the fantastical, are present in a lot of those films. Killer of Sheep is the only film I think I selected that's black and white, and there's just something really poetic about the story of this family and sort of the trials and tribulations of the patriarch of the family.
Now, start learning what life is about now, son.
But then the film's also shot through the lens or the perspective, or from the perspective of the children. There are moments when you're sort of at the same sight line as the children, and so you're seeing the world through their eyes. And that for me resonated because I oftentimes think about and think through the world, or think about the world and through what's happening in the world through the sort of similar lens of children. I feel like I've watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind probably about at least 5 times. Every couple of years I watch it. It's a love story, but it's also a story about self-discovery too.
Can you hear me? I don't want this anymore. I want to call it off.
The film is infused with the fantastical, and I'm a hopeless romantic, or hopeful romantic, and and so that film for me is just like a beautiful love story because it's like no matter how much he tries to erase her from his mind, they find each other again in different environments, different scenarios. Spirited Away is another film that brings the fantastical and the idea of spirits and ghosts. The beginning of that film I love a lot for that reason, because you're seeing this fusion of the real world with the fantastical.
Don't be afraid. I'm Master Haku. No. I just want to help you.
Essentially, there's a whole other world that parallels hers in the film, and similar to how I think about spirituality. Daughters of the Dust was a film that I saw in college and undergrad, first time in a African-American art history class that I was taking. I think the way that Julie Dash brought together both Yoruba traditions, history and history of slavery into the film.
We came here in chains.
When they go down in the water, they ain't never come up.
And shown how that has influenced another generation and multiple generations after that through this sort of nonlinear narrative structure, really, just really poetic, really beautiful.
Is that you?
What's left?
How long has it been?
18 years.
Beloved is a film that, based on a book by Toni Morrison, who's one of my favorite authors. Again, it brings these concepts of hauntings and the past haunting you. I think Beloved was one of the hardest films I've had to read by Toni Morrison. And the film, I think, does an incredible job of bringing all the visuals to life. I mean, what I do love about Beloved is how it sort of weaves the story together. It's, again, the film structure is also reiterating the conceptual ideas in the film, past, present, coming together in the future. And so through all these like hallucinations and memories, you're experiencing a story in a nonlinear fashion. I really appreciate that about that film and love that about that film. I hope that that helps people feel like my work is also as accessible as these films are and see the relationships between the films that I selected and my paintings and drawings. I hope that connection is there, and I hope that it makes the work even more accessible in some way, shape, or form.